everyone. Welcome back to another Cosmic Circus Comics review. My name is Vin. With me, as always, is Vic.
Hello. Welcome.
Today, we're talking about Thunderbolts. Vic, what'd you think of the movie? Just tell me really, really quick. What'd you think?
It broke me. It destroyed me.
But in a good way. You liked it, right?
Yes, I still don't want to talk about it really much because it revealed how broken I am.
Uh-huh.
And I just don't want to feel it. Bro, I just couldn't talk about it after I left the cinema. My friends were talking about it and I was just silent.
I thought it was... John and I did our episode. It's already out. I thought it was great, man. It feels like a movie. What an idea. It feels like a real movie. It's so cohesive. It has one solid idea, strong characters. It makes you care about these characters we didn't care about before. And it makes the past MCU things better, and it's just so fun, and I just loved it. Now, today we're going to be talking about some of the comics. Please remember, everyone, like, share, subscribe, follow. Vic, what are we talking about today? What's the whole rundown?
Thunderbolts 2004, Avengers Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
Thunderbolts 2012, Thunderbolts 2022, Thunderbolts 2023, Sentry versus the Void, and
Now, how did you pick these? How did you decide what you wanted to read for today?
I wanted to try to take a look at different teams because I've learned that there was at least 20 or 30 Thunderbolts teams in the Marvel comic book history. But
there's a lot of lineup. Yeah,
I tried to pick the most interesting titles and the more newer ones. Basically, I was judging it by the cover at some points. And I also wanted to try to start these. Unfortunately, it's in Polish. It's the Red Scare or Red Menace or whatever. The second arc of 2012 Thunderbolts series.
The Daniel Way run. Yeah.
Yeah, and Charles Soule.
Oh, that's Charles Soule. My bad.
Yeah, that's Way, Charles Soule, Noto, and Dillon. But yeah, I tried to pick varied teams, varied story arcs. I didn't want to focus too much on the original stuff because I didn't like the whole idea of the original Thunderbolts and how they were created.
But that's where it starts. That's the good stuff.
I really don't like the idea of the bootleg Avengers.
That's literally what the movie is.
In a way.
And the credits of that movie, it literally calls them B-Vengers. Did you see that?
Yeah, but to me, they were more like the Suicide Squad rather than
I mean, it takes a little bit of everything, you know. But I really liked the creativity of the movie. And yeah, so let's get into these comics. The really famous stuff, like what really cemented the Thunderbolts, was 1997 by Kurt Busiek, and that first arc especially really there's a great twist at the end, and that's what really cements the Thunderbolts is something different than you expected. And then it continues. Busiek did 33 issues, and then he passes it to Fabian Nicieza, who also has done great stuff with Deadpool and X-Force and all that. And then he carries it to from 34 to 75. Then he did Avengers / Thunderbolts 1 through 6, which you read. Then he did New Thunderbolts 1 through 18. And it's typical comics nonsense because it's one guy writing, and it goes through 5 different titles. Thunderbolts, Avengers Thunderbolts, New Thunderbolts, and then there's a renumbering it from 100 again. And, chaos.
Just like the movie went through 5 different logos and asterisks.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but that's why we have the reading guides, right? The reading guides help you read everything in order in a way that makes sense, right?
Yes, of course.
So let's start with this one: Avengers / Thunderbolts, 2004, number 1 through 6 by Kurt Busiek, Fabian Nicieza, Barry Kitson. This is in the middle of Fabian Niceza's run. It's kind of towards the back end a little bit. What did you think of these 6 issues?
My least favorite series out of all those.
Again, you were 75 issues late, so there's all this development and stuff before it.
Yeah, but sometimes you can start in the middle of the story arc and it still makes sense and you like it. But
yeah.
This time it's it wasn't my stuff. Basically,
what's the story? First start with what's the story?
If I remember correctly, it's Avengers fighting Thunderbolts, trying to treat them after everything that's happened in the universe.
Okay.
And it's basically heroes versus villains, or rather heroes fighting villains trying to pretend to be heroes. And
yeah.
what I liked about it was the inclusion of Zemo, the Black Heath, if I remember correctly, Vantage, Atlas, and all those villains or minor characters that people don't know about. Like you took the very minor characters who are villains and you made them popular, similar to what happened in the movie.
Right.
The end. Yeah. But I didn't like the whole story, or rather the team dynamic, and especially the stuff with Zemo, his past, because it's also, if I remember correctly, it all starts with the ancestor of Zemo in the past, which is later revealed to be Zemo in a way. Like the whole stuff leading to this and trying to tell the story in the middle, it was very confusing. Like,
was there anything that you liked about it? About maybe the art or the characters?
The art was okay. The art was okay. It was the typical 2000s stuff, 2000s art, but not for me.
Okay, so thumbs down. Would not recommend.
More like thumbs, thumbs like this.
Okay, not quite down. Not quite down.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good. Well, 3/4 down. Okay.
But
next
2012. That's the stuff.
All right. So that's next. 2012. This is Thunderbolts, and like I think of this like Thunderbolts Red, because this is the whole Red team, right? Yeah, so who's the lineup? Who's the team?
Red Hulk, Deadpool, Elektra, Punisher, Agent Venom. Leader, who is not green, is Red, and Mercy, and I think that Ghost Rider joins them later.
And Punisher has his red logo. Elektra's in red.
Agent Venom has the red logo.
Red Hulk, right?
Yeah, Red Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah, and Deadpool, of course.
Yeah. So
great lineup. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole story is amazing. Like it's like 12 issues. So I've read, it's like 36 issues, but I read 12 because I didn't want to rush it. I think I will finish the whole series because it's good, especially the art, but the story of Thunderbolt Ross, recruiting everyone. He started with Punisher, then he started with Elektra, with Agent Venom, and all the others. It's like you take all the other different characters from the universe whose chemistry would not be the best when you think about it, but they try to work. There's chemistry between Punisher and Elektra. They have a quick romance, and all they have to do in the first issues is to find the leader, because Ross wants to talk with him, interrogate him, gain some information. Punisher kills him immediately when he sees him. And it's like, Deadpool is the best part of it, because he says in the first pages, when Punisher finds out about the leader, he'll shoot him in the face. A few pages later, Deadpool looks at the reader and says, "Told ya." And it's like, I wouldn't laugh, but it was so funny. It was so fun, so great, so amazingly prepared, to tell you that it was really nice. But the whole story is about stealing something or killing people. It's basically chaos, Thunderbolt mission. Also, what's really nice is that a Red Hulk can transform back into his human form, not in like some comic books where he's trapped in the form. And I didn't notice that he would have any flame powers or fire powers in this. But he's scary. Like when you read it and you see him talking with someone, and they look at each other like this and that, like that. It's really tense, and I think that there are even Avengers in it at some point, but they're merely to show how incompetent Thunderbolts are. Just to show some propaganda.
So they're pretty. Are they pretty dysfunctional?
They seem to be dysfunctional, but when they fight, like here, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, that's a great page.
It doesn't look that bad. It looks very, very good. They fight together very well, especially when Deadpool is around. Deadpool just covers Elektra and says, "No, hide. You're not gonna fight. You don't have any regenerative abilities or healing abilities. You can hide." And he just takes a shot in the head and sees all those villains, all those people shooting at him, but with unicorns, flowers, rainbows. It's funny. But also there's
so and it looks like this series continues actually to issue 32. But I'm not sure if the creative team changes.
I hope not, because what I've read so far was very, very good.
And you read 1 through 12, right?
Yeah, 1 through 12.
Yeah.
And I still can't find this page. Damn it! I should have been better prepared.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
And here's the first, some of the first few pages when Red Hulk just fell from the sky and hit them. It's like you can see...
did he step on Deadpool?
Yeah, he's smashing his head.
Great.
Yeah, and it's really, really good, I have to say. It's very well written, especially because when you read it, it's not very overwhelming. There's not too much dialogue on the pages, and was one of the issues that I had with the Avengers Thunderbolts because you have one page, 6 shots, and there's like 20 clouds with words.
Speech bubbles. Yeah.
Speech bubbles. It's too much. I think it's the specific.
I understand. That can be a problem with older comics. I think you get used to it the more you read them. But you do have to get used to it. Once you get used to it, though, then it's not as bad. But you kind of have to be in that mindset, right? It's like, reading Shakespeare. The first time you read it, you're like, ah! But then the more you do it, then over time it gets a little bit easier, and then you can appreciate it once you're in the flow of it. But if you're jumping back and forth between modern and old comics, that can be pretty tough, I think. Okay, next we have Thunderbolts 2022, 1 through 5 by Jim Zub and Sean Izaakse. And this is pretty recent, actually, right? This is the one with Monica Rambeau and Hawkeye, and who else is on this?
America Chavez, Power Man, Victor Alvarez, Persuasion, Guts and Glory, and I think it.
Okay, so some famous people and some random people. I guess that's how it usually is, right?
Yeah, I think it's like 50-50 at this case, because you have Hawkeye, Monica Rambeau, and America Chavez, and then who are established in the MCU so far. And you know them, and Power Man, Persuasion, Guts and Glory, which I don't know anything about, if I have to be honest. I only know that this version of Power Man is like Luke Cage and Iron Fist merged or something.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
Because he gets his power from chi from the air, which is a very weird concept.
Okay.
But why I really like this this series is because it's the continuation of Devil's Reign. It keeps the art of Devil's Reign and it continues the story arc that was established in a way, because Luke Cage is mayor. He creates the government organization, which is Thunderbolts. He hires all those heroes, he pays them, and he chooses Hawkeye as leader of the team. Leader in the field, as they like to say, because he can't decide on anything that happens when they leave the field. It's like
really?
This whole, it's like Thunderbolts corporation team. Like you're the team manager, but when company has to decide, you're no one, basically.
I got it. He can't handle the political decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's very nice comic books because it has like 5 or 6 issues. And they're very nice to read. You can go through them in one day, basically.
How's the art?
Art is amazing. It's very similar to Devil's Reign. It keeps the Hawkeye with blonde hairs, which is one of my favorite designs of Hawkeye, because it's this cocky Hawkeye. He's similar to Human Torch. His behavior is similar to Human Torch, which I very, very like. and I can't stop mentioning it. But this version of Thunderbolts is very nice. You should read it. And I'm not gonna spoil a lot, but there are some big monsters who are trying to kill people, and you feel... And Nightmare is one of the villains in one of the issues.
Wow, that's huge.
And
this is only 5 issues.
Yeah, and there's some pretty trippy stuff in there. Like, if I remember correctly, some of it is similar to the brainwashing them to try to off themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's very, very, very weird.
That's pretty dark. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty dark, but mainly it's a more comedic take on the Thunderbolts, especially on this team. Because also there's a press conference when they ask why Hawkeye should be the leader of the team.
This is a big issue.
And he's like, yeah, I was leader of West Coast Avengers, of the Avengers, of the new Avengers, and Secret Avengers. And they're like, what's the Secret Avengers? They are Avengers who were created in secret, so don't tell anyone. And I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. There's one question. I think there was Black Widow, or someone dressed like Black Widow. There was never established perfectly, or it was maybe it was his, he thought he sees someone like Black Widow asking him a question, but it was like, what about your crimes when you were Ronin? And he's like, what's past is past. Now let's focus on the future. Like, okay, I can understand this take on Hawkeye, but and don't take me wrong, don't understand me wrong. I really like this version, but I much more prefer if they keep his comedic attitude, comedic when it's necessary, and when he needs to be like this, and when he needs to be serious in situations like this, he must be serious. Yeah.
Good. It sounds nice though. 5 issues. Okay. Then the next one is also 4 issues. Yeah. Thunderbolts 2023, 1-4 by Collin, Kelly, Jackson, Lanzing. I really like this team. I really like this duo. They're really great, Kelly and Lanzing. And this lineup is pretty similar to the movie, right?
Yeah, with Shang-Chi and Destroyer and Black Widow, of course, not being in the team. But there's Bucky, Black Widow, who has a symbiote, which is an offspring of Venom, if I understood it correctly. There's White Widow, Yelena, Red Guardian, Destroyer, which is Sharon Carter, I think. There's US Agent John Walker and Shang-Chi, which is weird. I wouldn't expect Shang-Chi to be in the Thunderbolts team.
But there's like one lineup of the team where like Man-Thing was on the Thunderbolts, so.
Oh, yeah.
When they were like the Dark Avengers, and there's like Man-Thing.
The question is, who wasn't on the Thunderbolts? That's the better question.
Yeah.
Yeah, but bro, I really like this comic book art because of the suit that Bucky has in the post-credit scene of the movie. Because it's exactly the same suit. And when I was reading it, yesterday, I realized, damn, now I know where they took it, how they made it. Yeah, but basically and also Val and Oxy appear in this comic book on first page. Because Bucky goes to her to talk with Val, and to insist to create the Thunderbolts to stop Red Skull and other villains. Because I think that Red Skull is in the first issue, then they fight someone else, then they fight each other, and then there's the end. I think there's even a Whirlwind who I saw for the second time in my life. The first time was in the Spider-Man animated series from 70s?
Winter Wind?
Whirlwind or something like this. He looks like Juggernaut, but he has a green armor and wind powers.
Whirlwind. Yeah. What is this? I've never heard of this.
I never heard of him, but he was either in Spider-Man.
What a weird design. So he just like spins around?
Basically. He's like this stupid villain.
Anyway,
yeah.
What did you like about
in the Iron Man season 2, whatever. Yeah.
What did you like about the series? The 2023 series.
And the characters, the introduction of the characters. I think they created this comic book to promote the movie.
Yeah.
Basically.
Synergy. Yeah.
And I think it was a great idea, especially the entrance of the Red Guardian in the comic book, because when he enters, it's like they're fighting Red Skull, and someone says, "I called for backup," and Bucky looks up and he sees this big shield, and he's like, "Yeah, hell yeah, Cap is here," and it's like, "I'm not Captain America, it's the Red Guardian." Bro, after the movie, I think that after the movie, this comic book hits better, because if I read it before, I wouldn't be much interested in it. But after watching the movie, I'm very interested in if there is a continuation of this team, then I would really read it. Because before, to be honest, I didn't care about the movie before we've got all those positive opinions.
Yeah.
And even when we got them, I was like, yeah, it's a typical Marvel thingy where people say, oh, it's a very good movie. Yeah, it's the best since Endgame.
It's the best Marvel thing since the last one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Basically, yeah. But when I watched the movie, I was like, it's a good Marvel movie in this economy. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and comic books like this, they are a very good lecture after watching this movie. Because
Hmm.
I think that a lot of comic books gain in quality, they
Hmm.
gain in, showing you a lot more lore, letting you experience it in a
Hmm.
very different way after watching the movie. Because I don't know if you had the same opinion about it, but sometimes after watching a Marvel movie for the first time or again and again and again, and
Hmm.
then reading the comic books about this team or this character or this story arc, I take a different look at it. I
Okay.
see more connection between the comic book and the movie, or
Okay.
at least I'm telling myself that I see them. But in this case of the 2023 Thunderbolts, I have to say they took this team. They basically assembled the team from the movie
Mhm.
without Taskmaster, without Ghost, and I think that's it.
So just like the movie,
Yeah, so just like the movie, but Ghost was, well,
a little bit. I would have liked more Ghost in the movie.
yeah.
But anyway,
Maybe they
this
didn't
sounds
have
pretty
enough
good. Yeah.
cucumbers in the comic books.
Yeah. If you could pitch your own Thunderbolts team for Vic's 2025 Thunderbolts, who would you want on it?
Okay, definitely
For the
Bucky.
comics. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Bucky.
Okay.
I'd pick Punisher.
Okay.
I'd really love to see Daredevil
Okay.
as part of it.
The Daredevil, Punisher, and Bucky. Wow, this is already good. This is
Yeah,
gonna be spicy. Wow. What else?
yeah, maybe someone more mystical, like
Mhm.
not Doctor Strange or Wong, but
Iron Fist.
maybe.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
when I think about Thunderbolts, I think about mixing the heroes and villains or anti-heroes and
Right.
together, because someone like Shang-Chi or Iron Fist, they should be in Midnight Suns or
Okay.
their own team or the Defenders. In
Okay.
Thunderbolts, I think that Agent Venom would be
Okay.
great,
Okay.
or at least Anti-Venom.
All right.
Yeah, because it would be, or someone who is not a classical host of the symbiote should gain
Uh-huh.
it and join the
For
team.
example, how we had Natasha with the
Yeah,
Venom symbiote.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the 2023.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And when I think about it, is there someone else? Maybe. I wouldn't like to see Deadpool. I don't want Red Hulk.
Hmm.
Because I want it to be Team of the Misfits
Okay.
from the street, taken from the street.
Yeah.
I know it's a very classical take, but
Would you add any X-Men? Any mutants?
Gambit.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I don't honestly. I don't think Gambit's ever been on the Thunderbolts in the comics.
I don't think
I
so.
might be wrong, but I don't think so.
But I think that would
That's
be a
that's
great
a good
story
guess.
arc to
That's a
start
good
with
guess.
him joining the Thunderbolts and then
Uh-huh.
joining the X-Men. Because
Uh-huh.
I think, if I remember
Hmm.
correctly, yeah, he was a villain before he joined the X-Men. He was a thief. He was a,
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, he was a misfit. He was a vigilante. Yeah, and someone, we need more women in this.
Hmm. Hmm.
Who else? Help me. Not Mary Jane as Venom, not her.
I was about to say Elektra, but you already have Daredevil and Punisher, so you can't have Elektra too. That otherwise it becomes a whole Daredevil spin-off thing. Too
Yeah.
much Daredevil stuff. Hmm.
Oh, Black Cat.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. Who would you want to write?
Maybe Zdarsky or
Zdarsky.
Saul. Yeah,
Yeah. Have you read anything by Jed MacKay?
I don't know. Maybe I've read. I don't remember. You'll
He's
have to
really
tell me
good.
what he read.
He did a whole run on Black Cat around 2020 that was
Oh.
really good. And then he did Death of Doctor Strange. He did I think the latest Doctor Strange run.
I have the Death of Doctor Strange. Yeah,
It's good. It's good. You should
and I
read
have
it.
the Mark Waid run.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then Jed MacKay also did. He did the latest Doctor Strange. Moon Knight. His Moon Knight is really good.
Maybe I have it because I've recently acquired Moon Knight. And
He also did Blood Hunt, and right now he's doing Avengers and X-Men simultaneously.
the Ultimate or the
No,
regular.
616.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. Very, very talented writer. I think right now he might be spreading himself too thin, as of last I checked, but very talented. I think he might be a good writer for this team. Or like you said, Zdarsky, can't go wrong with him either.
Yeah.
And I think Zdarsky would actually bring out a little bit more of the comedy too, so that could be really funny, especially with his work on Daredevil already. Yeah, that's a good pick. What's
And Daredevil doesn't have to be Matt Murdock.
Oh, so who would it be?
Elektra, maybe.
Oh, so you have Elektra and Punisher
Maybe,
again.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because I
Okay.
think there would be two, or maybe if they went this way, the Punisher and Daredevil similar to what we've seen in the MCU.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we love that chemistry, and imagine that chemistry mixed with chemistry in a team like this.
Yeah. Would you add Yelena or Monica Rambeau or America?
No,
No. No.
maybe Elena, but at the later point. But
Okay.
I don't want to have. If I had to pick my own team, I wouldn't like to see people who have too much special abilities.
Okay. Yeah.
Because when I think of
Keep it more
Thunderbolts, I
grounded.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I think they made a good choice with adding Ghost only. The only person who have like any extraordinary special abilities behind the
Mhm.
super strength or what John Walker had and Red Guardian. You had 3 super soldiers on Thunderbolts,
Mhm.
and to match it, you added one character with special powers like Ghost, and I think they nerfed it because if I remember,
Mhm.
they said she can only face for 1 minute.
That's right. That's right. Which
Yeah,
is kind of dumb, but it's good. It's a good way to limit her, also to separate her from Invisible Woman, right?
yeah, yeah. That's a good. That's
I
a
was
very good point.
Yeah, and I was also just thinking. I think She-Hulk could be a good fit for a Thunderbolts team.
Yeah, but only okay.
Mhm.
I think that Thunderbolts would be great to have heroes only if those heroes were, if people called them vigilantes or if they broke a law or
Right,
if
they
there
have to
was
be
a
more gray. Yeah.
yeah, or if J. Jonah Jameson called She-Hulk a menace, there was some fake video or whatever, and then she
Mhm.
joined Thunderbolts.
Mhm.
Because I don't want any character who's a true hero, like
Yeah.
who's clear or beloved by the public to join Thunderbolts. Because, in case Daredevil. Now, Daredevil in Born Again, he's considered to be a vigilante menace.
Mhm.
Fisk tries to off him. And that
Mhm.
would be a perfect to if I was writing a comic book of New Thunderbolts. And it was maybe connected to the MCU, and the movie didn't came out at all. I'll have this Daredevil from the MCU join this new Thunderbolts. To be kind of great character in it,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
morale of the team.
Jessica Jones.
I think she's retired. I think she'd be retired.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when I think, by the way, about Jessica Jones and Luke
Uh
Cage
huh.
and all the other defenders, when I think about them appear soon in a certain project, maybe, I don't want to see any of the stuff that we didn't see in the comic books. So I
Hmm.
want to see her living with Luke, maybe even having a baby.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I wouldn't like to see her joining Thunderbolts because I think of her as this kind of character that would do everything to protect the family and
Yeah.
nothing to endanger them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and joining
Yeah.
Thunderbolts is like basically putting a crosshair
It,
on your
it,
back.
yeah. It's a big problem that they do have in the run. I remember I was reading, I think, Mighty Avengers, and there's a by Al Ewing, and there was a thing there with they're trying to like get a babysitter so that both Luke Cage and Jessica Jones can go do fighting stuff. But
Yeah,
then, of course, you have all kinds of problems there.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's a nice lineup, dude. That's a good team. Would you like to see a Thunderbolts 2 in the MCU?
Uh, that's a very good question.
It would have to
Depends.
be. It would have to be after Secret Wars. So
Yeah,
who knows
definitely.
what the state of the universe will
Yeah,
be?
because after Secret Wars, there's a whole reboot of the universe, so I don't think that would apply. But
Yeah, I think I would love the director Drake Shear to do something again in the
yeah,
MCU.
his touch is something for the Marvel, but I think it would be after Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Imagine if they gave him the X-Men.
I didn't
Bro,
think about that for him.
he'd
Uh,
make this rusty X-Men or
yeah,
new X-Men,
it would be
Wolverine.
a very fresh take for sure. Huh.
Yeah,
Huh.
the
I
very
don't think
rusty
I don't think that's the
Wolverine.
direction I would have thought, but after Thunderbolts, I have a lot of faith in him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it also I know that I just don't want to diminish his work or say that he was a mediocre director with a good script, but he did a good job. But you also have to think about having a good script for the movie because even the best director can make a very good movie without a good script.
Yeah, can't.
Yeah, he can't.
Yeah. And then that's something Marvel's really struggled with is when they're making up the script as they go, they keep rewriting it
Yeah,
to
Doomsday.
the very end of the reshoot.
They started shooting Doomsday. They're shooting. I don't think it's a spoiler because it's already been public that
no spoiler.
That they're shooting some fight scenes with the X-Men and certain characters.
Yeah.
At this point, I think it's like okay, but in a year, those scenes could have easily been erased because they just may choose to do something else instead.
And they've done that before. And Shang-Chi, I remember they did like a whole sequence, I think, with the dragon, tons of visual effects, and then at the last minute they just deleted the whole scene.
Yeah, I remember some of the scenes from the trailer weren't in the movie, but this movie was good. Like Shang-Chi was amazing, but I think that, and I don't want to touch on the nerve right here, but Blade. There's a reason why they didn't start doing it yet. And that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Blade could be on the Thunderbolts.
That would be really cool, actually. And imagine his character dynamics with all the others. Like, I don't want to work with you guys because if they're not fighting vampires, what is he doing there? Yeah. But then imagine if it's Thunderbolts versus vampires
versus Dracula.
Yeah, Thunderbolts versus Dracula. That would be cool. They've never done that before. Never.
Marvel,
that'd be cool.
This is my statement. Me and Vin, we copyrighted the story. If you want to do this story, we do it. We're gonna serve a lawsuit. We're gonna sue you.
We're putting the copyright back on Dracula. Copyright.
No, Thunderbolts versus Dracula. We're copyrighting.
Copyright Dracula and copyright Thunderbolts versus Dracula. Also copyright Thunder and Thunderbolts.
Yeah, Anthony Mackie, if you're listening, we want to copyright this title just like you copyrighted the Avengers.
Sam Wilson copywriting the Avengers. That was goofy. And then it be the Avengers with a Z.
And they changed it on Twitter, so it's copyrighted now. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. Stuff. Also, I really thought they're gonna name them not the new Avengers, but just like Avengers 2.0 or something.
Oh, you think? I mean, I thought Dark Avengers, because that's in the comics they've done that too, where they've gone from Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I know, but at this time, Dark Avengers wouldn't be very positive.
Right, and that's the whole thing that Val is trying to spin it as. These are your new Avengers, right? So it's false marketing. So that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Anyway, so just some really quick Thunderbolts comics recommendations. Like I said, the classics, 1997, number 1 to 33 by Kurt Busiek. That's where it all starts. Then that'll go straight into number 34 to 75 by Fabian Nicieza, which leads into Avengers / Thunderbolts 1 through 6. Then New Thunderbolts 1 through 18. After that, I might recommend skipping to 110 to 121 by Warren Ellis, who has done lots of great stuff in the past as well. Then 138 to 174 by Jeff Parker. And this is, then he renames it to Dark Avengers. 175 to 190, also Jeff Parker. Then 2023, 1 to 4 by Collin Kelly and Jackson Lanzing because of the nice movie synergy that Vic was talking about. But there's a lot of really cool characters that have gone through the Thunderbolts and a lot of really interesting iterations. So like we saw with Vic, like if you just pick anything that looks cool, you might find a really nice team that you like, even if it's not one that we talked about today, because there's just so many different versions. And Baron Zemo is a core part of the team originally too. So I kind of wish.
I think there were talks about him joining the team in the first drafts.
It would make sense, yeah.
But if they did the story like they did here with Zemo, I think that they would waste the character because Zemo works perfectly as this character that he's got a point in many situations. He's got a point, but he's still evil.
Yeah.
And, redeeming him, especially after everything he did, and that it was public. Like, people know that he killed Chaka and that he tried to kill Bucky Barnes and everyone else. Trying to redeeming him, that would be not a good thing to explain to the public, especially by Val.
In the MCU, right?
In the MCU, in the movie.
I think that's what you're saying too, that like these are not heroes. These are shady. Some of them are shady characters. Some of them are outright villains. John Walker decapitated a guy with the Captain America shield, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty messed up.
And remember, Gauss, it was either Gauss or Yelena. You decapitated an innocent man. Was he innocent though? By the way, Walker is my favorite part of this team. Like he's my favorite
Yeah,
member, besides
yeah,
Bucky. But
really.
Bucky is
Yeah,
he's got immunity. So
yeah. But that's the magic of the movie and of a good comic, a good Thunderbolts comic, is that they can make you love these characters that normally you wouldn't even think twice about. Normally you wouldn't care about them. And the Avengers, everyone's like a superhero, but in the Thunderbolts, they're a bunch of losers, and they make you care so much about them,
yeah,
which
they
is,
redeemed them.
yeah, yeah. And we've seen that before in like Guardians of the Galaxy or Suicide Squad, but there's something special about the Thunderbolts that like really nobody cares, but still somehow a good Thunderbolts run can make you really care about them.
Yeah, but in this case, I know it may sound weird, but I really don't much care about this team at all, more about Bob and story.
Yeah, yeah. And Bob
Because,
was such a good part of the movie. Yeah.
bro, I know it may sound wild, but I just really resonated with Bob.
Hmm.
In the end, I just saw myself in him,
Yeah.
and that's why it broke me.
Yeah.
Like,
The director gave a really good interview earlier this week where he said the idea for the Sentry was inspired by a friend of his. He used to be in a band, and the leader of the band always wanted to be the best. He had huge ambitions. He wanted to be the best. And he's like, we're gonna make the greatest music in the world. But anytime they started to have success, he would get scared of the success, and all his anxiety would pile up. And then he'd say, "Oh, it's just terrible. It's worse. It's awful. It's awful." Even if they're getting successful, and then he would fall into this dark void. So Jake Shearer was inspired by his friend, how he had these golden god ambitions, but he had this void of depression, and he would just go back and forth between the two every time, all the time. So that's how he got the idea, and it's such a human thing, right? Such a
yeah,
brilliant
yeah,
idea. I wanted to ask quickly about Sentry versus the Void 2001. How did you feel about that one shot
bro.
by Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee, which is basically issue 6 of their
Oh, come
5 issue?
on. Come on. I don't
Man
care.
can't count.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it was amazing because
yeah.
there wasn't much dialogue.
Okay.
There were just panels with graphic.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jay Lee, his art is phenomenal. His
Yeah.
art is so special.
Doctor Strange never looked this good in the comic books. Let me just say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically it's about Sentry who figures out the Void is trying to destroy the Earth, destroying the universe, kill everyone.
Mhm.
And he figures out that it's part of him, and if people forget it, him, Sentry, the Void, then everyone will be safe. So Reed Richards and Doctor Strange do everything to just make people forget about the Sentry, and then they're just Bob.
Again. Yeah.
And then they're just Bob.
Mhm.
And I really like the idea of them not doing this in the movie. Because at this point, adding Sentry to the MCU and saying, hey, this guy was in the 2012 Avengers, but you guys forget about him. Like,
yeah. He was deleted from the movie. No,
yeah.
It's silly.
It's
silly.
Amazing idea to put in the comic books, but not in the movies or TV shows where people are like, they watch one movie a year and it's only 2 hours and there's not a lot of space to establish this character, his story, his motives, his influence on the world. It's basically 20, 30 years story. They did a great job of just saying, hey, it's Robert. It's Robert. He's from a bad house. He's got problems. He took a lot of math and wore a chicken costume. By the way, I was sending my friends spoilers about the context memes. And I included Heisenberg. And they were like, what? There's a Walter White in this movie? And it's like, no.
But you'll know when you get there.
Yeah, you'll know when you get there, yeah. And it was funny. But, just coming back to the comic book, I think it was amazing. And, just the scene where Reed and Sentry are talking, we're best friends. And they're just, they're both devastated by what they have to do. Sentry wants to do it. He knows he has to do it for everyone, even himself, to forget who Sentry and the Void are, to save people. And Reed Richards is like, well, he's pretty devastated and he doesn't want to do it, but he finally does it. And him and Doctor Strange are like, I think this was the similar situation with Doctor Strange than that he did in this comic book, what he did in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Which now makes a little more sense to me.
Mhm.
Not the whole inclusion of him, including him in the movie or whatever, but like Doctor Strange, why he did what he did, how his spells work, how this whole we have to make people forget or people will die.
Mhm.
Whatever, you know what I mean. I hope, at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. I get it.
At least I hope you know what I mean. And Sentry, I know it may be controversial, but I'm happy that Steven Yeun dropped from the project, from the movie, because Lewis Pullman
was so good. Like
yeah, he
I,
was
I
so
really
good.
like Steven Yeun. I'm sure he would have been great. But when I was
Yeah,
watching that, I was like, Lewis Pullman is killing this. He really carries the whole his expressions. He's
yeah, the
playing three
mimic,
different
yeah,
characters. He's playing three different characters. He's playing Bob and Sentry and
and the
Void,
void.
and he's
Well,
so good.
I think
He
that
played
the void sorry, the sentry is not the other his other persona, but more like Bob on
right, but
steroids.
it's a different performance
Yeah,
than as Bob.
yeah. Of course,
And
but
he's so good at playing these different roles. And like Steven Yeun would have been great also, but I regret nothing having Lewis Pullman in this, right? He's
yeah,
so good in
exactly.
this movie.
Yeah, and the whole explanation of that only Bob has to forget about
Mhm.
Sentry and the Void, and not every single
Everyone.
person.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a good way to think about it actually. I didn't make
yeah,
that connection. Because
yeah,
they do have the memory issue, but it's not everyone. It's just him forgetting.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
he
yeah.
knows who Sentry and the Void are, but he
Yeah.
doesn't want to remember them in order
Oh,
to
and
let them out.
that's also something from the comics when like how much does he actually forget and how much does he pretend to forget? Because
Yeah,
sometimes
and
he does
yeah,
manipulate that, right? He
yeah,
pretends that he forgot, but he actually remembers.
yeah. So maybe we can now quickly go into the future of the MCU with
Sure,
this.
sure, go ahead.
Yeah, because I really want to talk about it. Uh, should we start with the post-credit scene?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, the Fantastic Four. Why the hell did they spoil the movie for the people?
I I don't think it's quite a spoiler. I mean, I guess it is, but look, two things. One, if you don't know that there's a Fantastic Four movie coming, now you know, and you're not thinking deep enough to realize it's a spoiler. Two, if you know there's a Fantastic Four movie coming, and you know it's a spoiler, then you already knew what was going to happen anyway.
Bro, they play every single time they play the Fantastic Four trailer before the
Mm-hmm.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
The second trailer where they show the certain scenes
Mm-hmm.
from the final of the movie. Sorry
Mm-hmm.
for the spoiler, but
Yeah, but just some people still are not aware of things. So if you're not aware, now you are. If you're already aware, nothing has been ruined for you. You already know where the roadmap is going.
yeah, but it was a great title, especially the Gachino. It was
Yeah, and it's like
on the
the
spot.
first. It's probably the first great tag since Shang-Chi with the bracelets, and everyone's like examining the bracelets, and then where did that go? What happened to that?
Bro, a week ago, if nothing had changed, if Jonathan Majors wasn't dropped, we would get the explanation of this scene in Kang Dynasty.
Uh-huh.
But something had to happen. Yeah, but I think,
Yeah.
Marvels, Shang-Chi,
Uh-huh.
now Thunderbolts.
Uh-huh.
Those are the three movies that have the most important post-credit scenes at the moment that
Sure.
will be explained.
Oh
in
well,
Doomsday.
don't forget Harry Styles as Star Fox, and the voice of Mahershala Ali as Blade. His voice acting as Blade.
Bro, we'll get GTA 6 before Blade comes out.
We're going to get the Blade video game before the Blade show comes out. Blade will be rebooted again before this Blade comes out.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
true.
believe that Wesley Snipes came back as old Blade
Oh yeah, Wesley Snipes may be back in Doomsday.
before the
Forget
reboot
about
even
it.
happened.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
Channing Tatum is back, then Wesley Snipes
Yeah.
may be back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but Blade on Thunderbolts, that's a fun idea. Blade
yeah,
on Thunderbolts.
but seriously, yeah, Thunderbolts will be in Doomsday.
Mhm.
We know that. We know that Fantastic Four will be in Doomsday. But I think that either the post-credit scene from the Fantastic Four will show them traveling into the MCU and connecting this with the post-credit scene from the Thunderbolts, and maybe showing either Sam Wilson or Thunderbolts picking them up.
Mhm.
And this will be the
I
post-credit
don't
scene.
think so.
They
Go on.
found it.
What's your next idea? What's your next idea?
I mean, Thunderbolts discovered that they joined that
Yeah.
they appeared.
No, here's what I think. I think the post credit scene of Fantastic Four will be setting up Doctor Doom because it's gonna tease Doomsday. just like Ragnarok.
Yeah, it will definitely.
Just like
there are two post-credit scenes.
Ragnarok set up Thanos attacking, which goes right into the first scene of Infinity War. So I think the last post-credit scene of Fantastic Four will be the arrival of Doom.
Yeah,
or something, the introduction of Doom.
The second post-credit scene, of course, it may be this, but I'm thinking more about the mid-credit scene. Yeah, mid-credit.
I think that'll be something funny, something fun, like Red Guardian with the Wheaties, just something.
I hope not. I really want Fantastic Four not to have a comedic ending or the very comedic post-credit scene.
Really, you think the whole ending is gonna be like?
Yeah, I mean, the whole movie may have comedy scenes, funny scenes. Johnny will be.
It's gonna end with their whole planet being destroyed, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're sad." Credits.
Yeah, I mean, it will definitely end them with traveling to 616 and meeting Thunderbolts and the Avengers with S, not Z. Yeah, but I think that the Thunderbolts. I think. Wait, now that I think of it, including this scene may set up even more for the Fantastic Four movie than I would have thought. Okay.
Think about this. What I love is imagine the Fantastic Four are coming from their optimistic world where they're the world's greatest heroes there.
And then is the 60s also.
And it's the 60s. And then they're coming here to our 2029 or something. And they're like, who are your heroes? And the new Avengers show up, the Thunderbolts show up like, hey, we're the heroes of this planet. And it's just a bunch of losers. And
it's John Walker. Hi, John Walker, Captain America.
Can you imagine the Fantastic Four meeting this version of the Avengers?
Oh no, or maybe it's just they go out, they exit the ship, and it's like, "Hi, I'm Bob."
Yeah, because I think that's what's gonna happen. That's how it's gonna set up at the beginning. And you think, it reminds me a little bit of when Hulk crashed into the Sanctum Sanctorum.
In the Sanctum Sanctorum, yeah.
And he's like, there's something coming. There's something coming, right? Thanos is coming. And instantly it connects Doctor Strange to Hulk, to the space
Ragnarok.
Stuff, to Ragnarok, and to Iron Man, and all that stuff happening in New York all at the same time, which is such a brilliant idea because there's so many heroes in New York, and that movie actually capitalizes on it. So all the New York heroes are together. I wonder if they'll do something similar without repeating themselves.
Yeah, I really hope so, because I have such a high hopes for Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is the most awaited movie of this year for me. Amazing.
Good, that's good. I have a source who worked on the movie who said it's probably the best Marvel thing they've done in years, including Thunderbolts. He thinks it's above all the rest.
Bro,
so hopefully,
I'm watching the trailer at least twice or 3 times a week. It's so good.
At 7 p.m. on the dot.
Yeah.
Don't miss it.
Every Sunday, 7 p.m. Yeah.
And if you miss it, you're pregnant.
You're late.
You're late.
Yeah. But, yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I can't even imagine this movie being bad. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I already know who's gonna say it's a very bad movie, very bad CGI. It doesn't make sense. Why would Marvel? I already know the exact people who's gonna say it. I even don't have to wait. Because I already know who's gonna say it and how they're gonna phrase it. I don't effing care. It's gonna be my movie of this year. Even Thunderbolts can beat it. Even other movies can beat it. Even Star Wars can beat it. Nothing. Fantastic Four is mine. And I'm gonna fight for Fantastic Four, and we're gonna watch it together.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm coming to you. I'll drive to you. I'll visit you. We're gonna watch it day one. We're gonna talk about it for 4 hours straight.
Fantastic 4 hours.
Fantastic 4 hours, exactly. Yeah. But now about Doomsday, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Quickly, Thunderbolts, Doomsday. It will be the similar case as Infinity War, I guess.
Okay.
Different story arcs, different people teaming up together, mixing them. And it may be a spoiler, but from the comics, the comic books from Hickman Run, from the Fantastic Four Hickman, The Bridge, when Reed Richards turned on the bridge, the multiversal bridge, and there were different characters. There was Sentry in the medieval era.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and there were all those graphic leaks with the medieval teams, and I think that even including Louis Pullman in this movie doesn't necessarily mean that we'll see Void or Bob. I think we'll see more alternate universe versions of those characters. So
for sure, yeah.
I really hope we're gonna see the whole world overtaken by Void.
Oh, that's so good! Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, that's good. And
I was, especially when this was Kang Dynasty, I really thought we would see the Young Avengers grown up as the next version of the Avengers. So like another timeline where it's a big theory that I've had for like 5 years now or something.
Yeah,
I've been holding on to that.
It's amazing how they're gonna make it. Oh, I can't wait for.
Yeah, I just hope it's good because they can do all kinds of crazy ideas, but if it's not good, I don't want it.
Yeah, that's true. But we already know at least a small premise of what this movie is gonna look like. I'm not gonna say I'm not excited, but I really want to hold my horses for a while. But I'm really waiting for the X-Men. I'm waiting for James Marsden. Like, just let Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen rest for a while. I'm here for James Marsden. He's my boy who was meant to be in Deadpool 3. They cut off his scenes.
And you know what I just realized?
What?
Because Avengers comes out in May, that means we're gonna get a trailer this year. That's scary to think about. We'll get a teaser. We'll get a teaser at least before Christmas.
Wait, September or October? Because I remember when Infinity War was coming out in May, in September or in October, I was coming back from college.
Yeah.
Or from high school.
They might do an early teaser. For sure, something around December. For sure.
Yeah, that's definitely. But I think they're gonna do
what
they did with Infinity War, like a 1.5 hour and a half minute teaser. Because I think it was the teaser with that started with there was a plan to bring together people with when they showed the Titan. The teaser starting with the Titan shot. Yeah.
Because the Thunderbolts teaser was September 23rd, 2024.
Yeah, okay. Released on September 5th. I want my birthday gift to be amazing. I want Avengers Doomsday thing. Yes, but Doomsday, Thunderbolts, yeah. I also think if they're gonna do a lot of multiversal stuff, like traveling to multiverse, picking up heroes, they may go to different worlds, and as I mentioned, the medieval era, we may see some of the Thunderbolts as valets or of the more powerful people to get it, or we may see the Thunderbolts being the Avengers and the Avengers being the bootleg Avengers.
Like that's fun.
The reverse world. Yeah, that would be funny. Or just them being the heroes and the Avengers being the villains. That would be nice. I mean, there's a lot of ideas here, but I think that really the most exciting of them would be Sentry. Yeah,
I think that most potential comes from the fact that the MCU is just in absolute chaos right now. There's so many storylines. There's so many characters. Nobody's really interacting with anybody. It's all just nonsense, right? Because they had so much stuff in Phase 4 and 5. There's just nonsense. There's so much chaos. So now the Russos have an opportunity to take all this chaos and use it for comedy, then use it to bring all the threads together in one movie, satisfyingly. But it's a lot of work. But I hope they can do it. It's a bigger challenge than it was in 2018, though.
Yeah, Doomsday is all in for them.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Doomsday
going to be a huge win or a huge loss, and I really hope huge win, because when you get classic X-Men, and you have Channing Tatum as Gambit, you know how long he's been waiting for this?
Yeah, he's about to make a name for himself.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't mix them with Avengers. You get Robert Downey Jr. You have to do this right.
Yeah, and what makes me nervous is that because they just started filming now, and the movie comes out in a year, there's not a lot of room for mistakes, and there's not a lot of room for reshoots and for like finessing it, to make it perfect.
Yeah, they have to do what James Gunn does with his movies, doing the post-production at the same time he's doing the special effects at the same time he's shooting. For sure. And to do that, you have to know what you're doing exactly. I think they've done this before, though. John Ford, the editor, he usually likes to edit on set as they're doing this stuff. But you have to be really good to know what you're doing. So we'll see. Yeah, I hope so. I really hope that from what we've heard, it's going to be exactly like what we've heard. I know that sounds confusing, but you know what I'm... Hopefully. But we know what this means, but yeah. Anyway, we good for today? I hope so. I'm gonna finish Hickman finally.
You can do it. I believe in you. Anyways, so thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed our discussion, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. What do you think of Thunderbolts? What are your favorite Thunderbolt comics? If you can make your own Thunderbolts run, your own Thunderbolts team, let us know in the comments. I'm Vin. You can find me on Blue Sky at Vin Writes Words.
I'm Vic. You can find me on Twitter on Blue Sky at Rexalki and on the Cosmic Circus.
Be sure to follow thecosmiccircus.com on Blue Sky and at My Cosmic Circus. We find more reviews, articles, editorials, and pins like the ones you just watched. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Bye! Bye. And special thanks to our Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see even more videos and extended content, please subscribe at the link in the description.
Thank you.